well, maybe more than half, because we got the sheriffs coming in on Wednesday, and I'm not sure how much time they're gonna need. So, we'll make progress on this. Who are the police? Right? Who are the police? 32% departments have some type of college requirement. Are we going?
Yeah.
32% have some type of college requirement. That's what, 68% don't require any college education. Not bad. So why are you here? You could be working already, right? No. You're not wasting your time. If you do have at least an AA, that's an advantage during the entry requirement, minimum qualifications. They do the and or type of thing. If you don't have a degree, then you gotta have at least some experience in the field, something like that. If you do have a degree, not only does it move you from one pile to the next, and I'll explain that in a minute, but once you are hired, there is pay incentive. Usually 2.5% for an AA, 5% for a bachelor's degree, and then I think it goes up from there. And that's every month for life. Well, think of the money, right? Think of the money. Okay, so piles. We have a 20-year-old out of high school, worked at McDonald's, kept his nose clean, never did anything wrong, wants to be a cop. So they apply for, let's say, Riverside County Sheriff's Department. They put their application, and I worked backgrounds guys, and I did hiring panels. So they put your application in a pile. From the floor, it's about this high, imagine that. This is your competition of people with your similar qualifications. Now let's say you're 20 years old, but instead of working at McDonald's and including working at McDonald's, you came to school, got a degree. That moves you from this step to this step. Not bad. Your competition is a little bit more limited. College degree. Next thing we look for, military. If you've done your military, fulfilled your obligation, have an honorable discharge, you move to a much smaller pile. We want people that know how to take orders, have discipline. Yeah. So anybody thinking about military? Yeah, it's a good thing. Military, and while you're there, you got your bachelor's degree, and the military paid for it. Your stack just went to about this. I go through those applications, they hit the desk, I review them. If I see a candidate who's done military, has a bachelor's degree, honorable discharge, and the one I'm thinking of, he was military police. That's a no-brainer. I can call him fast enough, or her, and get him in the academy. Those are the people you're competing with if you're looking to get into a police force. There's also sponsored police academies. I get questions about that. Should I do that or should I not? Self-sponsored academies, they're PCA 32 academies, Riverside has one. You pay your way through. You apply, they do your background, they tell you, okay, this is what it's gonna cost, you write the check, and you go through the academy. Now when you complete the academy, you get your certification. With that, you can go to Riverside PD. Say, I completed my academy, I wanna work for you. And it's up to them to determine whether or not they wanna hire you. But you can canvass multiple police agencies. Sponsored academy is the Riverside Police gets your application. They like you. They call you and say, we want to hire you. We're going to pay for you to go through the academy. While you're at the academy, you're also on the payroll. Not a bad deal. The best one, and even though if I had to do this all over again, I'd still do county sheriffs. But the best one to do is the state correctional officer. You apply for the state. If they hire you, they pay you to report to the academy. And you also get stipends, so you can pay for your uniform costs, housing allowances, things like that. While you're at the academy, you're on the payroll. And it's not bad. It's something like $2,500 a month. And it's about a 3-4 month academy last I heard. So it's not bad. And when you finish, you're guaranteed a job. It's not that you have to go out and look for a job. State does not require any college, high school degree or a GED. High school degree or a GED. That's all they need. Only 2% of local police departments require a 4-year degree. A lot of the different police agencies are going to 4-year degrees now. Federal, even the prison system, Fed prison system, you have to have at least a 4-year degree. 2-year degree if you're prior military. Most police departments recognize college education is important. They do promote it. If you're already working at a police agency and you want to go to school, they will work with you to get you through school. And once you complete it, they will pay you. Some will reimburse you for tuition. It's always negotiable. Benefits of higher education for police. There's some bullets there, but let's just get real about this. Why do you think any police agency wants to invest in officers that have a college degree? You say, why? Great.
I think the trend in current policing is like de-escalation, and people who have better training, more education, are more likely to de-escalate and cause less problems to the department.
You would think so, right?
So
Yeah.
I just think it's more of a high quality caliber officer.
Absolutely.
Alternative is just somebody who has extra credentials, qualified person.
No, you said one key word. Everything else you said was accurate, but one key word, de-escalation. We don't want officers going out causing problems. Anybody can do that. De-escalate, that's key. And if you're ever in an interview, remember that word. I have an ability, right, to assess a situation. Get to the root of the problem and de-escalate. Oh boy, you're hired. That sounds pretty good. Education. A more professional police force, right? That's true. Be professional. The image. There's another thing too about an education, a degree. I don't care what the degree's in. Underwater basket weaving, it doesn't matter. But if you took the time, 2 years or 4 years, to get your asses out of bed, get to the classroom, fulfill the requirements, and graduate, that's discipline. Okay? Just like I told you about the military, why we like military, that's another thing agencies look at. Discipline. This person, this student, this applicant has showed us that they can stick to something, not quit, and succeed. That's important. Less inclined to use force. I like that one. So if you're more educated, you're less inclined to use force. That's true. Use your words. Right? Use your words. De-escalate. You ever caught in a confrontation? Heated argument over something ridiculous, doesn't matter. And we're arguing. It could be an intelligent argument. At least one of us should have an intelligent side to it. If the other doesn't, the one that does can say, you know what, let's talk about this later. Let's agree to disagree. We'll come back and finish this later. Women, I don't know, I'm getting biased, women have the inept ability to do that. They can get together, discuss something, completely disagree, and still walk away friends. Men, one day we shall get there, but not yet. Some men do. But as a whole, we got a long way to go. Who are the police? How about minorities? Qualities that can improve police performance. Spanish speaking. I'll say any second language. Doesn't matter. I worked with a guy, this was when the Crips were first really populating the prison. They were coming up. And he actually learned how to speak Crip. They had their own language. I don't know if they still do that. But it was ridiculous. And he could sit there and talk to them in that language. It was awesome. He didn't get paid for it, but it was pretty cool to watch. Undercover officers, minorities help gain the confidence of that population. We kind of touched on this before. You take a white officer male, you put him in a minority sector of the community, doesn't understand the language, doesn't understand the culture. I think we just set that person up to fail. Partner him or her with someone who looks like that community, who understands the culture, the language. They have a better chance. Doesn't mean they're automatically going to succeed, but at least they have a better chance. African American, double marginality, minority representation. You can read the rest of this stuff. Specifically, African American minorities in police force. Why don't we see more black officers policing?
Maybe it's hard for them, like channels, so you think like school, there's not a lot of.
The opportunity?
Yeah.
Right, limited opportunity. The culture, and I'm not speaking because I'm not black, I don't understand it, I didn't come from that. I can only speak coming from a Mexican background. Mexican background, in my time, you stay in your lane. We had our own neighborhood. My wife's Italian, came from Jersey. And when I tell her my story, she goes, you know, it's the same for me. They had their own communities. And they stood in their areas. If they ventured out, they have trouble. Same thing with me. So I learned to read and write. Turns out I wasn't that dumb. People didn't like that. And I'll be frank, those white people didn't like that. Thank God I had good teachers. Because my peers sure as hell, they thought, well, you think you're better than me? And I didn't help the situation. I said, yeah, I'm better than you. I can read and write and multiply. That pissed them off. Okay, but it gave me more drive. I wanted to succeed. I go to the academy, and I blew them away. I graduated #2 academically. The guy that finished ahead of me, he cheated. That was like his third academy he had been through. That was my first. So I still think I could have kicked his ass, but very competitive. Very competitive. So I get back to the prison, and I'm like a sponge. All I want to do is read policy. I want to know what the heck I'm supposed to be doing. Turns out I wasn't that accepted because the color of my skin was different. I didn't match what they were looking for. White males. Women, forget about it. You guys weren't even allowed in the prison. It's true. You could only go to the front entrance, and if you had to go in, you had to have a pass. Like to go in and see the watch commander or something. You could work towers, you could work the entrance building, or visit for women. That was it. No contact with inmates. That changed, thank God. But it was tough. So minorities, black officers, when I have black people in my classes, in my academies, it's like, thank you. But God damn it, it's tough. I understand. I never walked in those shoes, but I get it. Okay, I get how hard that is. Then you have to go home and sell your family on the idea. Okay, you see where I'm going already? Well, why do you want to join that side? It's like there's a division there. They're the bad guys. The cops are the bad guys. Now you want to be one of them? Oh boy, that didn't go over too good. So good luck to all of you, females in particular. It's hard, okay? Jobs in police are very difficult for everyone. For women, 10 times harder. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. 10 times harder, just because you're a female. And if you're a minority, double that. So that's what you're up for. Good luck, fight the good fight. We do need you. Okay, we need more women, we need more minorities, all the way across the board. So, detail may not sum up total, forget about that. Excludes. See, this is a nice caption here. We're being excluded, they're telling you. Mexicans don't count, guys, sorry. There's your source. So what are they telling you? Population served and who's serving them? Let's just look at the top line, 100%. 78? No, 72.8 are white. 12% white. Asian, I forgot about Asian, 2.4. Wow. Not too promising. These are police officers and these are the communities they serve by population. There. On this column here. And then this is the breakup of the officer serving the communities. Women, 15% are female. Still struggling for acceptance. Still trying to promote, show you can do the job. Many females report policing as male dominated, not very woman friendly. And I was a part of the problem. Did not want to work with women. You guys did not belong in law enforcement. You were a problem. Until I was totally humiliated by a female. And it served me right, and I learned a good lesson. I was working in a housing unit, 2 male officers, 1 female officer, Jolinda Clancy, she was about this big. And so me and my partner, we get an order. It's an inmate movement order, 154, to move an inmate from one cell to another cell to make room for something. I don't even know what we were doing. Go down, knock on the door, tell the inmate, pack your shit, you're moving. And that's exactly how you would tell them. That means, gather your belongings. We're going to relocate you. Yeah, pack your shit, we're moving. What was his name? Johnson. One of the Crip leaders at that time. About this big, about this round. He told me a lot of things about my mother I didn't know. Yeah, we had a friendly conversation. He wasn't going anywhere and told me to do a lot of things to myself that I just don't think they're humanly possible. But I went and got my partner. And I said, hey, he's refusing to move. So he said, good. Take your badge off, take your name tags, they got pins and they'll stick you. Take your pins, anything that could hurt you, we take it off and on the desk. And we get ready to go to battle. And we go knock on the door. And we told Johnson, we're coming in to get you or you're coming out. So we exchanged a few more words, but Clancy heard the conversation. So she walks up and says, let me talk to him. For what? He already said, come get him, so we're gonna go get him. And so let me just talk to him, give me a couple minutes. I said, fine, right? So me and my partner's name was Duncan, just came to me, Duncan. We moved over to the end of the tier, and we see her talking at the door. Next thing I see, she's unlocking the door. Like, oh shit, right? We start to make a move. She gets the cuffs. His hands are behind his back. She cuffed them up. Takes him by the arm, just walks him down the tier. With a smile at us, like, you morons, right?
He said he'd rather be walked by her than them.
No, that was part of it, but no. I said, how did you do that, right? She goes, I talked to him. She explained. I go, how do you talk to him? I gotta try that. Sure beats the hell out of fighting all the time. I told you my record in fighting. And we were just gonna go and fight this guy. Talk to him. Communicate with him. And I learned that from her. A female who I thought had no place working in a prison. All new level of respect. And I did ask her, can you teach me how to do that? We were never taught how to communicate. We were taught to get orders and enforce them. That was it, by any means. How to go to battle. How to make sure you take everything off before you go to bed. I'm not communicating. So I learned from females, and I started paying more attention. Like I told you, I'm a sponge. I'll learn from any source. So I started watching females and how they communicate. I started learning more and more until I became an effective communicator. I thought, "Boy, this is a lot better than fighting, I'll tell you." Okay, so who are the police? Female representation, selected populations, what is this, 2013. So this is kind of old, 10 years. But remember, it takes a little while to gather up all the data. So let's see, police forces, all sizes. They got red, green, and blue. They didn't really tell us what they stand for, though. Oh, there they go. Chief, first line, and full-time sworn. Female representation, departments. Doesn't really tell us too much, so let's move on. I'm gonna take that slide out of it. Okay, 6 core beliefs at the heart of the police culture. What is a police culture? Isaac, what's a police culture?
Police culture?
Yeah, what is culture? What are we talking about?
I'd say we probably doing the right thing, enforcing the law, taking initiative, just things of that nature.
Okay, that's some of the qualities, right? Yeah, that we would like to see. But what is culture? What are we talking about? Mexican culture, white culture, black culture, Asian. What are we talking about?
This one things speak, I mean, like,
Yeah, it's tough, right? What do you got? Culture.
Protecting people that you care about.
Okay. A quality we would like to see in the police culture. But what is the word culture?
stick to your own and your own. You believe what the, within.
Similarities,
Right,
similar
yeah.
beliefs within a group of people, right? Okay, similar beliefs, similar traditions, similar values. Okay, so that's what we're looking at culture, just the word. Now we're gonna apply that word to the police culture. Similar beliefs, like you said, that you trust each other, and Drake, and over here, everything you guys said is accurate. Those are the characteristics we're looking for in that culture. Police are the only real crime fighters. No one else understands. Loyalty to colleagues above, that'll get you in trouble. And number 3, that's gonna get you in trouble. The war against crime cannot be won without bending the rules. That's gonna get you in trouble too. Members of the police are basically unsupported and unreasonably demanding. And patrol work is the pits. So this is what the author's trying to point out. What some people may perceive a police culture to be. 1 through 6. They give you 6 bullets. Every one of them is flawed. It's not accurate. Pretty much, yeah. Police are human. I told you that. We make mistakes. We're not the only real crime fighters. Police can't do a damn thing without the support of the community. That's the truth. No one else understands. It feels like that sometimes. And if you believe that, if you get in the job and you start believing that, seek counseling, because that will lead to some very bad habits. Drinking, cheating, lying. Guilty of every one. Because I thought nobody understood what I was going through. You start relying on your partner. You start feeding each other these flawed ideas. Nobody understands. Nobody's there with us. We gotta stick together. Start drinking. You start drinking, you start making bad decisions. And you start going down a deep hole that leads to hurting your family and your loved ones. Be very careful about that. Loyalty to colleagues above everything else. God, that's gonna get you in trouble. He's my partner, I'm not a rat. I can't tell on him. I worked with a guy who was drinking on the job. Joey Zuniga. We're on the tier. And he was an ass. The guy was straight up ass. And then he'd say, give me a few minutes. And then he'd take off. Go into the restroom, the staff restroom at the end of the unit. Come back out, whole different person. He's laughing, messing with everybody, having a good time. Wow, this guy sure changed his whole personality in a matter of minutes. Again, I was working with Duncan, so I told Duncan, I want to see what the hell's he doing. So I go into the bathroom, he wasn't there, and I pull up his lunchbox, and sure as shit, he had a little flask of vodka, and he was putting it in his drink and drinking on the job. He wasn't the only one. We confronted him, told him get help. Because if you don't, we will rat you out. I'm not working with somebody who's drinking on the job. Loyalty to him? Hell no. He didn't show loyalty to me. War against crime cannot be won, unless you bend the rules. You start bending the rules, you're going to start breaking the rules. And you break the rules, you're no better than the people you're trying to patrol. Shame on you. You don't bend rules, you stick to the rules. You can work in the gray area. I tell you, I love the gray area. If there's some flexibility here, absolutely I'm going to use it. But if the rule says that if you do this, this, and this, you're guilty of this, 1 + 1 still equals 2. Don't go there. And then the last one, patrol work is the pits. Man, that was my best time actually working in the field. Just being a regular old officer, every day having contact with all these different people. It was wonderful. As you move up the ladder, then it becomes a pain in the ass. Being a supervisor, if any of you have ever been a supervisor, the job isn't the problem, it's the people that are causing the problems. And it gets tough. Some experts believe that police officers develop a unique set of personality traits, distinguish them from the average citizen. Absolutely true. And this working personality is shaped by constant exposure to danger, the need to use force and authority to reduce and control threatening situations. Yes, 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 yes. All of that's true. When I'm at the academy, I get a brand new group of cadets, eager, ready to go out and change the world. First thing I ask, how many of you have a girlfriend? Oh, I do. Boyfriend? Yeah, me too. Say goodbye. Because within the year, they're going. How many of you are married? Well, you're not going to be married after about 4 or 5 years. That's what statistics say. Within 10, you'll be on wife number 2. And hopefully you get it right by then. It's just the job. It does change who you are. The friends you have when you go in will not be there within a few years after you get done. Even your own family is not going to want to associate with you. Unless they really accept you for who you are. Okay? That's what you're in for. Yes, it does change. You gravitate towards each other. The other side said nobody understands the job, or some about police. They just don't get it. They don't understand you. Except your partners. Because they walk in your shoes. They know what you're going through. Absolutely, there's the connection. There's a bond that you form for life. Military does the same thing. Okay, when you're together in the trenches, yeah, you form a very deep bond. One that you would stake your life on. That your partner is going to be there. And what they say, have your six. Watch your back. So yeah, this is all true. But it's not all bad. It really isn't. I know it maybe darkens your clouds a little bit, but it's not all bad. You do make new friends. Get another wife. Get it right the second time. I did. It worked out great. Cost a lot of money, but it was worth it. You know, that's what they say why divorces are so expensive, because they're worth it. All right? Put that in your books. All right. That will be on the test. Okay, so let's think about the issue of police personality. Based on what you've read, what we've discussed, what you've been exposed to about police in the media, do you believe police have a distinct personality? Do you think cops are different than the normal citizen? And do you know someone in law enforcement, and do they have a police personality? Yeah, you couldn't wait to get your hand. Let me come back to you. Anybody? You have any? You're thinking?
Oh, yeah,
What do you got?
basically, they see like the important and bad sides of people. They don't always see like the good side of people. They just always want to look out.
Good point. They only see the bad side of people, never the good side. Yeah, that is true. Anybody else got a point on this one? Come on, if you don't, that means Drake's gonna say something. Okay.
Well, my neighbor's a sheriff in LA, and he's very closed, I'd say, like he's more like to his family all the time, but he's like super respectful when we see him, he's always hello, like, but I feel like he's more just
Reserved.
closed off, like,
Yeah.
cause he's always dealing with something, and it's always just, yeah.
Thank you, yeah, that's another good observation. Anybody else? Good job.
For sure. Kind of speaking with like Mr. Hernandez and then, like another, friend who was a police officer. Like you say, they can't help it, like you go to dinner, anywhere that you go with them, they have to be sitting facing the door, they observe the whole entire room for observation. And, the other thing is like it's not that they're meaning to look at somebody and automatically stereotype, it's just how even through their training, they have been created this way. Not that this person is a bad person, but just protection and kind of the area itself.
That
making
was
sure we can say
survival.
Survival.
That's what it is, survival. Okay, great, yes.
But if I'm a peace officer and my paramount interest is to preserve the peace, and if I'm sitting at dinner and I'm sat here trained for years, and the way I parallel it is like a lawyer. Lawyers sit there, spend 10 years, and you sit there and conversate with him, and he's thinking preponderance of evidence, all this stuff. Well, I'm thinking the officers looking at ways to secure the room, and that to me is what I would define as a police personality.
Okay.
It's all the things that encompasses the training of an officer. I'm not quite too familiar with it. I
Yeah.
know more.
No, but from the outside looking in, yeah.
I know like a convict personality,
Yeah.
but
We're gonna get to that one, I think there's a chapter.
that's why
Towards the end, yeah.
I can see it more as like that.
Yeah.
as a duties of
Okay.
police officer.
What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 different perspectives every moment. Bing, right on the money. Went to breakfast yesterday. My granddaughter was baptized. She's 9 years old. They go to a really nice Christian church up in Lakeview, Ventura. I mean, it was a hell of a drive. But we went up there so I could watch her get baptized. After, we went to breakfast. Now, my son-in-law, he's a CHP. He was just in the news with that Malibu mudslide in the canyon. He was the biker cop. It's on Twitter, it's everywhere now. He's like about 6 foot, God knows what. And he looked like the biggest dork running down the highway, trying to escape these rocks as they were falling. So yeah, we made fun of him. And one of his partners was there. So anyway, we get to the restaurant, and I looked at the table, about 2 of these put together, there was 12 of us there. The door was there, and I sat right here with my back to the wall, so I could watch everything. And everybody walking by, I'm assessing danger. That's all I think about. And play what if. Well, what if this were to happen, how would I react? It's just instinctive, I can't shut it off. And there's times that we'll be done having breakfast or dinner or whatever, and we walk out of a restaurant. And then I'll tell my wife, did you see that? And she'll see what? I go, that flaky person that was sitting at the booth. They were very suspicious. They had a bag in her. She goes, how in the hell? I go, because I couldn't tell what they were doing. It was driving me crazy. We were at a hot dog stand, hamburger. And we're sitting at the booth. Again, my back's to the wall. It was one of these you could pull up, order from the car, and they bring the food out. Well, this vehicle pulled in and looked suspicious. 2 males, right? Like in a low rider. And they just stood in the car. No food, no order, no nothing. Then a truck kind of pulls in. And I go, this is getting interesting. They exchange vehicles. No shit, right? So I get on the phone, I called 911, so patch me through to the patrol in this area. They did, I gave them the license plate numbers, I don't know what happened. But something just went down and identified the people, the vehicles, and plates. That was lunch. You can't shut it off. It's survival. You never want to be kept off guard. You want to be able that if something happens, react. Was at a cousin's wedding. This was years ago. God, just flashed in Bakersfield. And it wasn't a good part of town. I'm outside the church and I'm watching the people as they leave. Well, you know, my cousin had come out to congratulate me. He's coming out and I see this person coming at him. Looked like he meant them harm. And sure as heck, as soon as my cousin came out of the church, I think he had a knife in his hand. And he went to try to stab him. Oh, I watched him as he came through, grabbed him by the hand, took him by the throat, swept his legs, pounded his ass into the ground, flipped him over, and I had cuffs with him, flipped him up. Nobody even knew what the hell had happened. It was that fast. So I called the cops, and this guy just tried to kill you, and there was the knife. You damn. But you've got to be on your toes. And it shows. When you're in a group of people, strangers, just watch how they act. Watch how they sit, how they talk. Where they sit in a room tells a lot. Firefighters, gotta be by an exit. Cops want to have a back to the wall. So they'll always be on opposite sides of the room. Right? Normal people just sit in the middle wondering, what are these idiots doing? That's about the way it goes. Working personalities. Oh my God, we're here already. Personalities. Range from being a social worker. This is the type of officers, the qualities an officer can become. And the one I could not stand was the social worker cop. They want to fix everybody's problem. They'll spend all day talking to one person. Me, that was a waste of a day. I could have been doing something else. But no, they take an interest, they follow through, they want to be a social worker. And that's okay. That just was never me. The law enforcer, the watchman, and the crime fighter. There used to be a book that said the superhero. The cop that wants to be a superhero is going to get everybody hurt. You don't want to work with somebody like that. They are looking for the glory. They want to be the first on scene. They want to be the one to initiating a takedown. They're going to get people hurt. They call them the hero. Maybe that's what they mean by the crime fighter. Crime fighter, overzealous. If you're doing 56 and a 55, they're going to give you a ticket. There's no margin of error. Sorry about that. They're by the book. They're hard ass. Some of them can even be unfair. Most of them are fair because they stick by the book. And the watchman, the one that doesn't want to do a damn thing, just sit down and eat donuts. Watch the world go by. I don't want to work with that man. If you get in the field, you will develop your own characteristics. You will fall into one of these categories more or less. And as long as you're happy with it, stick to it. Don't try to be something you're not. If I'm the crime fighter, I'll never be a social agent. And I'm not going to try to fake it. So I don't. Be who you are every day. Don't change up. What police style do you believe is represented most frequently as associated with policing in the media? Yeah, let's take that first one. What do you think police, how are they represented in the media? I'm going to go all the way to the corner. You're too quiet back there. I know you're awake. What do you think, man? What do you think the media looks like? Or makes of the police?
You're talking to me, right?
Yeah, I do. I don't know your name because you hide in the corner or something. But I can point.
I think they're portrayed more as like out in the field, like really in the neighborhood, because like the media is all about crime. They want to show what's actually happening, or they'll show
Okay.
like just a cop doing cop things.
Do you think it's accurate, the portrayal?
No.
No, okay, good. I was hoping you'd say that, dude. Okay, so you don't think the media portrays them accurately. Okay, based on your personal experience with the police, what is the style of policing you've encountered? So anyone other than Drake, any involvements or contacts, encounters with the police at any level? Parking tickets, citations?
Yeah. So I got a ticket for speeding, and police officer just asked me, it was my first ticket. I told him it was. to give me a ticket, but he said since I've seen your record that you don't have any records, so I'm going to go for the warning. But just be careful because even though you weren't going that fast, you still need to try to keep in the range of the speeding.
Okay, how fast were you going?
Come
Go on.
We want to.
Come on.
It was like a 65, and I was going like 75.
Oh, that ain't too bad. You're like doing 10 over and you let you off with a warning?
Yeah,
Okay, was he fair or she? Was it a male or female?
it was a female.
Female? Do you think she was fair?
Yeah, because she could easily give me a ticket.
Okay, did you appreciate that? Okay, good. Any other encounters? What do you got? You're-
Basically almost the same thing as hers, so I had I think my sister was like 4 at the time. She had to use the bathroom like really bad, so it was my dad who was driving. But like I'm in the back, kind of just chilling, but then I can feel the car speeding up more than it should be. So, and then I can feel the stress rating from
He's trying to get her to a bathroom?
Yeah, because she just keeps saying, I gotta go. And we were on the highway, and I can feel, like, you normally can feel, like, how fast you are, and this is a lot faster than he normally goes. And he's a fast driver.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, so we're gonna get pulled over, aren't we? And then the cop pulls us over, and then he's stressing even more. So he comes up to the car, and he's like, do you know how fast you're going? And he's like, yeah. My daughter's in the back, she had to go to the bathroom really bad, so we're trying to pull to this gas station right here.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, fine. So he goes back to the car, he does like all his stuff, and then he comes back, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna let you off with a warning, just drive slower.
And get her to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now, always know what would I do? If you're the officer making that stuff, how would you handle that situation? In your dad's case, I would have said, get her to the bathroom, I'll follow you. And then we'll talk there. I wouldn't hold, that poor baby's gotta go to the bathroom. Come on, I deal with kids when, I gotta go. What do you think?
I got pulled over by the same cop twice on the next speeding.
Did he ticket you?
It was yeah, so it's a bike cop.
A bike cop?
Yeah.
Bike cops, they're the worst. Did you have it coming? Did you have that ticket coming? Did you-
Well, I didn't know because I was going, I think, 60 and 45. Because I was late for work.
You had it coming, man. Okay, so mostly traffic issues, Drake, we know your story, but
That's a really good example of that. It's just like, our next door neighbor, her boyfriend had like, I guess like violations and stuff against him. So he woke up every Wednesday morning slamming the door, being really loud, and then the next morning we had like police officers and things like that asking us like right out our front door about him and
Yeah.
saying, oh, he has like that he's supposed to not be near here, that he has like violations, like all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like telling us to like, especially since me and my little brother and like we have other little kids that are around us in
Yeah.
our apartments. They're like, if we see him to call them to make sure that he's not there because he was making so much disruption and
Did
like
you?
banging all over the doors and everything.
Uh,
And he came back a couple of times throughout each other months, so we kept having these police officers come around, but we haven't seen him for now a year.
Okay, you never called the cops, though, so come in.
My mom did once because he
Good
was
for her.
good.
Good for her. And you just don't know these people, you know? They're all people, we all make mistakes, we don't know what his situation is. But, you know, if you have not done anymore, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Before I forget, I need to get rules. Sasha. Gabriel. Jeffrey? Zayd? She did, huh? Thank you. Evan Steer, Elijah Steer, Sam Loomis. And Marie. Josh. Zoe. Renee. Sierra. Cat. Eve. I'm sorry. I heard you and I seen you. Denise? Man, Nia? Jojo? Maria? Manuel? Oh, I came a little late though. Calvin? Carol? Valerie? Melissa? Brandon? Vanessa? Oh, she did? Oh. Raven? Remy? How do I pronounce that?
Ramiz.
Ramiz. Thank you. Jaden? And Donovan. Okay, thank you guys. All right, so cops, are they represented accurately? Sometimes, sometimes not. I like to beat up on the media. I just do. I don't like what they do. I don't buy into the people have a right to know. When you're dealing with a stressful situation, maybe it was a shooting, there's family members you just lost, and they got a mic saying, how does it feel that your daughter was just, I said, come on. But, can't argue with them. Discretion. One of the most important elements in policing, discretion. Not going by the book. RoboCop movies, right? The RoboCop. They just go out, they see an infraction, they execute some type of a procedure. Because they're robots. They don't have discretion. As human beings, we do. And if you meet an officer and it's a traumatic situation, and the officer demonstrates passion, uses discretion, you're really gonna remember that person and appreciate them. Likewise, if they don't, and they seem to not care about your situation, you're gonna remember that one too. Yeah. Factors that influence discretion: crime, victim, peer, suspicious behavior. There's a lot of things. When you, whatever your jobs are, I'm trying to think of someone working at a counter, and they're just trying to get your order so they can put it in the computer and bring you your food. And I'm terrible, because I stand there and I'm looking at the menu, I don't understand most of them. So wait a minute, so if I order this, I can have that. But if I supersize, I can have what? Well, if you order the number one and you supersize, and you get I don't get all that crap. So I really appreciate when somebody will recognize that I'm lost and say, okay, how can I help you? Well, I don't understand the menu. I then tell them, okay, what would you like? And I'm thinking of a person right now, Culver's. She worked at Culver's in, just outside of Denver, Colorado. And she was the nicest little girl about this big. And I told her, I just want a cheeseburger. I want a bigger hamburger patty. I don't want a lot of bread. And she goes, oh, that sounds like this one. She goes, and we can make it larger for you by, and she explained, and she goes, well, what would you like in that burger? It was so nice. Yeah, she got me, she understood me. And then she goes, well, would you like fries? I said, well, they ain't good. I always wonder, are the fries? She goes, they're okay. I go, okay, I'll try some, but maybe just a small order. She goes, you know, for a nickel more, you get the bigger order. I said, okay, I'll live dangerously. Give me the bigger order. Then what would you like to drink? I don't know, man. That's already too many questions, right? But she took the time. And my wife's just sitting there, God, I know this guy. It was fun. But she was very helpful. Okay? And it was a real person. I didn't make up the situation. Maybe, can't remember the order exactly, but she was very helpful. She showed extreme consideration, discretion to help me with this damn menu. Anybody ever go to DMV? Department of Motor Vehicles? Yeah? Aren't they the worst?
Yes.
Okay, they don't even look up from their desk most of the time. Next. Yes. Hello. I'm terrible, guys. You don't want to see me if you're working somewhere. I'm the worst. Hi. What's your name? Oh, and then they'll look up. Good. Let's make eye contact here, you know? But they're bad. These people, the examples I've given you, really don't have a lot of authority over you. But put a police officer in that position, someone with authority, and you pray these guys or gals have some type of sympathy, will exercise discretion, and help you in a difficult situation. They're not there to persecute you. They're there to assist. And if in the course of their duties, they have to cite you or arrest you, it shouldn't be because of who you are, but more of what you did. And you left them no recourse, but to initiate this type of action. That's good discretion. When I interviewed my guys, my officers, when I first staffed my yard, I had to hire like 25 cops and a couple of sergeants. Sat their asses down, give them scenarios. And the one or two, you know, the chip on the shoulder, they got that attitude, chest pumped up. I don't want them. They're trouble. I'd rather have somebody right out of the academy that tells me, I'm not sure what I would do. Good, I can train you. I'll work with you. I don't want the other guy or gal. Okay, so good discretion, it's a very highly sought after quality in any position. It doesn't matter what you do, but more so if that position has a power or authority over you. 7 factors believed to influence police discretion. They were listed in the previous slide. Which factor do you believe influences offer discretion most or the least, and why? They list the 7 here. So out of these, this list, which of these do you think is most important if we're going to exercise discretion? The crime, the victim, the environmental, department? Department to me is a cop-out. Well, that's what it says. I can do that. Peer factor, suspect behavior, their demeanor, or the officer, or other characteristics. Consider that for a second. Which is most important? Which is least important? And why? Oh, good. I got my list, so I'm going to call somebody. Who can I call? Sierra, you've been quiet. What do you think?
That are most important?
Yeah. Listen.
I would probably say victim factors, departmental factors, and officer characteristics.
Most important?
Yeah.
Okay. How about least? Doesn't really matter.
Peer factors.
Here? Good.
Yeah.
And I'll stop you there. Because what your peers think of, you shouldn't have any influence in what you do. That's a hard one. You make a stop, your partner's watching, and you just let them off for a warning. Then you go back and your partner's going, oh, you're weak. What the hell's wrong with you? Why am I even working with you? Giving you a bad time, right? I don't care. Think whatever the hell you want. Don't do anything based on what other people think. Do what you think is wrong. And you can live with that decision. Victim factors you mentioned, right? Victim. Is it important to consider the victim? You're the officer, you're assessing an incident. You see a couple people standing around. There's a person maybe sitting in the chair bleeding out. Do you care about this person? Their well-being? You better. That's your number 1 responsibility, preservation of life. Make sure these people pose you no harm, keep them at a safe distance, but assess what's happening with the victim. Do what's right for the victim. And remember, guys, just because they're the victim doesn't mean they're innocent. They could just be the loser. That happens. Officers get caught off guard. So be very careful. Okay, discretion, highly, highly important. You must exercise good, sound discretion in all aspects of your life. I said all aspects of your life. Young ladies, I speak to the young ladies. Boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever the hell you're into these days. Girlfriend, boyfriend, doesn't matter. But you're assessing a relationship. And you're asking yourself, I like this. Nobody? No, you smile. Okay. I look for responses and you get yours away. Yeah. Okay, why am I in this relationship? I don't need this right now. Good discretion. Well, I can put up with the abuse. It's not that bad. It's got a nice house. Takes care of me. Oh, am I too close to home? I'm sorry. And so forth. So you're writing out your options. I'm gonna dump his ass, but not right now. Okay, maybe later. That's your decision. Yeah, we talked about that one. And we're gonna stop here at racial profiling, because this opens up a whole other can of worms. Any questions about a lot of the subject matter we discussed? It was a lot, guys. And policing isn't easy, and it's more difficult when it's not done correctly. Okay, so no questions. I'll see you Wednesday. Remember, we have company unless they reschedule. Please be ready to ask